All right, so we are now live. We are going and ready to go here today. So thank you for coming. Life's Co-Pilot is very excited about inviting you or to have you here today. We're going to be covering senior living is not what it used to be. So let me kind of give you a real quick thing. I want to jump over to a screen share. Then we'll come back and introduce all of our panelists. But in Life's Co-Pilot, we try to bring you resources and think for anything senior. So senior living, not what it used to be. So we've got Allison Brown here. We've got Camille Beeson. I believe she's coming. Carol Houghton, Jessica Schenk. Lori, you're being played by Mark Wallace today. And then Patrice Hardy, Sean Gann, and Vicki Green. So let me get back to my page here. Where's my share? All right, so I will get back to this. And so let's just start with Mark, since you're playing Lori today, you're big on my screen, so I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us all about what you guys do, what services you provide, who you are, all that kind of stuff.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm filling in for Lori, and actually Lori filled in for me last time, so turnabout's fair play. I'm Mark Wallace. I am with Grandbrook Memory Care. We are a family-owned dementia care community. 3 locations here in the Indianapolis area: Fishers, Zionsville, and Greenwood. We focus exclusively on dementia care. So all of our residents have some type of memory loss. So we work with all stages. So we have folks that are in the early stages all the way through end of life. And that's all we focus on. That's our niche.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And you're at the Zionsville one, or?
I am. I'm in Zionsville.
Okay. So let's see. So Allison, you're up in the top corner of my screen here, so I'll go to you.
Thanks for the introduction, Jim. I'm Allison. I am with Traditions at North Willow. So we are a senior community located in Indianapolis. And we're located just east of the St. Vincent Hospital off of 86th Street. So if you've driven past us before, we're a fairly new community, just about 3 years old. But we've got our main community where we have our assisted living and memory care. And then we also have our new villas, which is our independent living. So we're working on filling those up right now, getting some people out of their homes, downsizing options coming into the winter, moving into that. But I've been with the company for about 3 years since Traditions at North Willow opened up on 86th Street. And I'm really excited to kind of share with you guys the different services and care that we provide and answer some questions for y'all.
Great, thank you. Well, Carol, you're in my screen, you're next to Allison here, so I'm going to pick on you next.
All right, well, thank you, Jim. I'm Carol Houghton. I'm with the Forum at the Crossing, so we're right off of East 86th Street. So we're on the corner of Woodfield Crossing and 86th Street. We are a CCRC, which is a continuing care retirement community. So we offer independent living with home health care, memory care, skilled care, and rehabilitation. We have a pretty large campus. Residents can come in completely independent, and as their needs change, then they can add care whenever they need. And then if they would need to go out for rehabilitation following a hospital stay, they can do that right on site then.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Vicki, you're next in the screen for me. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Because should I put my feet up for a little while? Or, yes, anyway.
Well, you might need to just for my title. Hi, I'm Vicki Greeno. I'm the Memory Care Business Development Specialist for American Senior Communities. So I support all of our long-term care communities as well as our assisted living communities within the state of Indiana and Kentucky that offer a memory care neighborhood. So in total, we have about 65 communities that offer that specialized care. And been in the industry for about almost 30 years and have worked in a lot of different types of positions. So just here to share some knowledge and hopefully get some folks directed in the right direction for whatever needs they may have.
Well, thank you. Patrice.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patrice Hardy, American Senior Communities, Forest Creek Village. I am a skilled 24-hour nursing and rehab center with 3 divisions in our facility. We have a memory care Augustus Cottage. We have long-term, what we call long-term residential, where our residents live as their home-like environment. And then we also have our rehab center, where we are currently a COVID facility. We have opened up to the community to help out. We have been in the COVID business since March. We have returned home more than we have lost. And some of our loss was some of the people that had to come here because they could not make it, and we needed to take care of them towards the end of life. But we still connected with the families. We still keeping up with them and checking on them, even though they lost their loved ones. I've been in healthcare for over 34 years. 15 of those years have been at Forest Creek Village. I have a background in, I have a master's in community psychology. So I do a lot of things in the community with education, with churches and community and families, and education with finances and things like that. We have been around over 40 plus years. This facility have been here. We have been a staple in the community. We're known for getting things done and taking care of business. We got a few new things coming up, but until we get that in place, I will not talk about that, but we do have some exciting things coming up in the spring. So look forward to letting you guys know later what we're going to be doing. Thank you so much.
And you moved your thimble collection.
Yeah, yes, I have moved my thimble collection. What's up there is now on this next shelf.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say I didn't see it. I know that it's
Yes,
usually
I
there.
still have my thimbles. Yes, I'm a
Okay.
thimble collector. If anybody want to give me anything for Christmas, I love thimbles. I don't care what side of the earth you're on, bring me a thimble back. I love them. I love them. Thank you so much for inviting me today.
Thank you for coming. Sean, would you like to tell about your place?
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim. My name is Sean Gann. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Sycamore Reserve Independent Senior Living. We're located on the northeast side of Indianapolis by Community North Hospital. We are family owned, a local family here in Indianapolis. We have 97 independent living apartments. And we have a heated in-ground swimming pool, which of course we can't use right now, but comes in very handy in the summertime for all the water aerobics. Other than that, we have a fitness room, movie theater, hair salon, all kinds of fun stuff to do around here. So we are still accepting move-ins and doing one-on-one personalized tours. So please give me a call. We'd love to come in and have you.
Excellent. Jessica.
Hi guys, I am so sorry my camera is not working. I am working on getting it fixed. My name is Jessica. I am the Director of Marketing and Admissions here at Allison Point. We are located right down the road from actually Miss Shawn, 82nd Street, down the road from Community North. We are a 24-hour skilled nursing facility. We do have rehab, long-term care, and we do offer the respiratory therapy. We do have a 15-bed ventilator facility with 24-hour RT in-house, which is kind of nice. We can admit to the building 24/7, and we also do Medicaid pending, which is really nice. So I said I look forward to hearing from you guys, and let me know if you guys need anything.
Excellent. Well, guys, I'll tell you what, I really appreciate you all coming here today. We're one of the things I want to do is I think that, and pipe up on this, please. You're the experts. I'm just the mouth talking. So what I believe is that a lot of people have these outdated ideas of what senior living is, that that everything's a nursing home, or that everything is whatever it was 30 years ago, or what have you. And frankly, you guys are all over the board on different things that you provide, but it's definitely not the same thing. Could you kind of, some of you have been in the business for a really long time. Could you kind of help bring people up to speed on what's different, what's out there today? We'll start there. I don't care who wants to start. Vicki, you've been around for a while in this. You said 30 years. That's a while. So I'll let you kind of get us started.
Well, that's a great question, Jim, because, I was kind of reflecting back to when I started in the industry and was a certified nurse's assistant. And the community that I was working in was your typical nursing home. It had wards that housed 4 to 6 people in one room. where the beds were just lined up and you went in and you did your care and you moved on. But now the big shift that we're seeing now is private rooms being available. Some communities are even offering private Medicaid certified rooms, which is really unheard of, just because there's such a shift in the population that we're serving now. So your typical nursing home from 30 years ago, people had in their mind that that was a place where folks would go to die.
Yeah.
And now nursing homes, assisted living communities, independent living communities are where our elders are going to actually live. It's getting them out of their home. It's providing them with socialization with peers. It's providing them oversight on nutritional intake, assuring that they're getting the right hydration, assuring that any medical needs are being met. And it's in, more of a communal living style, almost like a dormitory where you have your own private rooms. So I think what we're seeing is longevity in life. Those who are residing in communities that all of us offer here on this typically have a longer lifespan because they're not so isolated and their needs are being met, not just medically, but psychosocially as well.
Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
think so. Yes, I was going to say too, I started in 1988 in healthcare. And when I came in, there were nobody in the facility, no one in the facility that was under the age of 65. And so now we are seeing more boomers, more that age group coming in and younger. They're 55 and older now. So, we have left the spectrum of where just senior living is just taking care of those that's elderly in 60s and 70s and 80s, and seeing boomers and people in their 50s are coming in with major issues like more heart disease. We didn't have that back then. People came because they was older, they couldn't take care of themselves anymore. So now the generation that's coming behind those that's in their 80s and 90s, they're outliving those people that are coming in behind them. And that's because sometimes of lifestyle, or sometimes it's just family history. We don't know, but whatever it is, we're going to take care of them. But that's the big shift and difference that I've seen, that you had to be 65 years old to enter a facility. You couldn't just be disabled and come into a community. So that's the big difference I see. And then the food service itself as well, that's very important to them. The food service is so much different now. You just had slop on a plate. Now everything is very defined and it looks really nice when it comes, and you have a specialty menu. It's more like living at home, like Vicki said, it's more dorm style now. You can have chicken fingers if you like with chips. You can have a salad. It's not that run of the mill. You just got to have the meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and green beans, whether you want them or not. They have now we have chefs on staff and things like that, which encourages, eating and habits and things like that.
Anybody else want to weigh on that one? Or
I
one of the
think
ways also I'd like to go into is in the industry, we have a tendency to throw around terms that I'm not necessarily sure everyone really even knows what they mean. Okay. Out in the real world, we talk about, we have independent living, we have assisted living, we have, skilled living, we have memory care. Pretend that I've never walked into a place before, and it's kind of explained to us, because each one of you do different things. I know, Allison, you're all over the place in the things that you're doing. So could you kind of give us those of us out here that may not be in the industry to understand what in the world you're talking about when you say those things?
Yeah, of course. And that's a great question, because oftentimes we kind of forget that we're just in this healthcare world, and this terminology is what consumes us every day. But you're absolutely right. Families that are kind of coming in for the first time and don't know that much about healthcare because they haven't gone through these types of scenarios before are like, what are you guys talking about when you say these things? So when we're talking about independent living, that is the perfect scenario if someone is looking to downsize from their home. Maybe they are dealing with stairs and balance is becoming an issue for that person, and they just need a stable environment where everything is on one floor. They can still maintain all of their activities of daily living, is another term that we like to kind of throw out there, but they're able to manage their own medication. They're able to bathe themselves. They're able to address themselves. And some people are still working, they're volunteering. Independent living is for those folks that just want some additional amenities and maintenance free. So what I've seen a lot of people kind of moving into our independent living villas, they are coming straight out of their own home and they are just no longer wanting to clean the gutters. They don't want to shovel the snow in the wintertime. They don't want to clean the gutters. That is what we're taking on in independent living. You still have all of your freedom. You are driving, you are cooking, but we do have some amenities like a meal plan and your utilities included and the maintenance and upkeep of a light bulb is going out. You're calling our team and we're sending our tech guy over there. So that's kind of what we mean by independent living. It's the perfect downsizing option where you're still able to maintain your own independence. When we kind of go into assisted living, that's when you're starting to need some of the assistance of a nursing staff. And it can be very minimal or it could be very high need. And that's why a lot of different care places, we have levels of care is what we call them. So we can really maintain whatever this person needs nursing wise, whether they're coming in just needing maybe some assistance with medication management. They're just no longer maybe wanting to manage that on their own, or maybe family is having a concern that they're not taking their medications at the right prescribed time. We can take on that role. And if they transition into needing additional care, like that bathing assistance or assistance with dressing, or if they have mobility concerns and need assistance with transferring, those are things that we can also help with in assisted living. And your nursing staff is there available in the building 24 hours for you. So that's a little bit of assisted living. Memory care is kind of when you go down the line and maybe you have some dementia. You're needing just a little bit more hands-on care. In memory care, you're going to find more routine and scheduled based activities and living. The whole kind of the best thing about memory care is that it is very scheduled and structured, which is what these folks really need at this point. We're getting up in the morning and we're assisting them with getting dressed, still helping them to maintain their independence by choosing what they would like to wear in the morning or what they'd like to wear for the day. But we're there to make sure that they get to their meals. And we're there to make sure that they are combing their hair and that they still have that dignity because they are an individual. And we want to keep them
Absolutely.
independent and as an individual as possible. So that's our goal with memory care, is to keep that dignity, but be that support for them, because it might be at this point too much for family to step in, or you really want the additional staff just for that extra support. So that's kind of how I like to describe the spectrum of things. Some of these other panelists have skilled rehabs as part of their community. We do not have a skilled wing, but we do have a therapy team on site that does have a skilled nurse. And what that kind of means is that they can assist with wound care. If there's an open wound, they can assist with INR or blood glucose monitoring with diabetes. They can also provide that therapy that maybe we're working on more of a preventative approach, and we're hoping to hopefully decrease some falls that were happening. So we can work on physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. That's kind of my whole gamut, right, Jim? That it's like everywhere.
You got a lot of
And
stuff
hopefully
under
try to
your
cover
plate.
most
So
of
yeah.
it. Yeah. But that's kind of my world. It's just a little bit of everything. We have a lot of different options.
And your independent living is separate. They're like separate condos or like little townhomes or something, aren't they?
Right. They're completely separate. It's out of our main community. So it's almost like a condo. Everything is single story. You've got a front porch, back porch, your own garage. So it's like your own home, but we're just maintaining all of the maintenance, the upkeep, the yard work, all the stuff that we as individuals do not like to do.
Anybody else want to weigh in on this one? Anybody get, who else is independent living? I know that Sean, you guys are independent. Yeah.
Yep, we are independent living. So just like Allison said, we get people from home that just don't want to cut the grass anymore, or don't want to worry about any yard work or stairs, like she said. This is just people that are still very independent. They come and go as they please. Most of my residents still drive. They go on vacation. they just don't want to mess with the upkeep. So they'll come here where they still get their 2 meals and all the utilities and activities and transportation, all of that. So again, we're just here if they need us. Another misconception is even though we are independent, we're not mandated by the state. We don't have a state license, but we do work very closely with a lot of home health agencies, hospice if needed, so people can still age in place.
Anybody else want to get in on this one? Carol, what all things do you have over there? I mean, what spectrum do you guys cover?
We offer independent living. We have our own licensed home health. So if somebody needs to add care or services, they can stay in their apartment and add that. Memory care, rehabilitation, and skilled care. I think the important thing to know is that there is so much choice right now. So I think what families and individuals need to do is to take a look at what their needs are, how much care is really needed. If they're truly independent, there's a wealth of choices. I mean, I offer, I believe, 9 different styles of apartments. They range from 650 square feet to 1,400. I mean, some of them are huge. So you can retain the independence. If memory care is a concern, there's a lot of choice there as well. So I just think Indianapolis is really blessed with how many places there are. And I think there's a place for everybody, honestly.
Well, and if not talking to you guys, but talking to if anybody that's listening in here, if you've been out and looked at any of these communities, there's definitely not. You get to skilled care, and it's a little bit different. But if you get outside of skilled, they are not institutional looking. These look like high-end hotels or condos or what have you. It's there's a lot of them I'm trying to figure out how to get into now myself, but I'm ready to sign up to live in some of these places.
I ain't claiming that one.
You too? Huh?
And I'm not claiming that. I'm not quite ready for that. I might be around there, but I'm not ready for that neighborhood yet. But I will call y'all when I get ready.
But there's a different feel in each place.
Yes, I did want to chime in about the skilled nursing side and also the long-term care. There is an opportunity for respites for the family members as well. We do respite stays. So everybody that comes to the facility is not just always coming in for rehab and going home and things like that, but they do have an opportunity for the caregiver to get a break. So that's what we come in at when it comes to giving the caregiver a break, giving the resident a break. We had a lady come in one time, and I don't know if this should be recorded, but she said when her daughter brought her in, she came in and her daughter stepped out of the room and went to the restroom, and she came back and she said, "What are you guys laughing at?" Well, her mother said, "I'm so glad she put me in here. I need a break too." She ain't the only one that need a break. So she brought her in to see our facility. She was going to be doing a respite. So she said, just like my daughter need a break, I need a break too. So we have to think about it in terms of the residents. Sometimes they need a breakaway too, to have some time away to think. So we do have the respite that we can do for the loved ones. And then as well as vacation time. Right now, people are going away, even though they're not supposed to be flying anywhere, but they are. And sometimes we're getting them for respite stay for the holidays. We'll get them for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. They'll come in and stay 5, 7, 10 days while their loved ones go out of state or whatever, because they can't fly anymore. They're afraid to fly. They don't want to go anywhere. So we treat them just the same. When they come in, they're evaluated by our rehab team to see if there's any services they need while they're there, to make sure that they're safe when they go home. If they need a new wheelchair, if they need a walker, if they need a cane, we make sure the height of the cane is correct. We have occupational therapists that can do staging when our patients come in for short-term stay too. On our memory care unit, our Augustus Cottage, they're staged when they're here. Sometimes the families don't know what level they're at. So there's a lot of opportunities when they come into the skilled side, or they come to the long-term side or respite stay for the loved ones. And Vicki, you may want to chime in on the respites and other stuff that we do.
I was going to ask on the respite too. How long is respite? Is there a minimum? How does all that work?
With the Medicaid waiver, it's 1 to 30 days, but if they pay privately, they can stay respite as long as they like.
Wow.
And even with the waiver, sometimes we had it where we had to talk to the case management and they would give them some additional time if they needed it. So, yes, Vicki?
And a hospice respite is only a week.
Yeah,
So
a hospice
individuals who
respite
are
is
on
different from the.
hospice-
Yeah.
Individuals who are on hospice at home, if the family needs some recovery time or needs to go out of town, then they can enter a skilled nursing facility under a respite contract for a week at a time.
Mhm.
But I kind of wanted to touch, I hope this is a good opportunity, and Jim, if you were going to
Go
ask the
for it.
question later, then
Yeah.
I apologize for
No, that's
taking your
fine.
question.
Mhm.
But I think one of the things that we often hear when folks call, and this is in all models, and that's what insurance is covered or what services are covered by insurance. So
Mhm.
I kind of want to break it down a little bit so that people have an understanding of how to pay for all of these services. And they're all fantastic services and there's such value behind it. But in a skilled nursing facility setting or your typical nursing home setting, those services are covered primarily by private pay or Medicaid. And the difference between Medicaid and Medicare is also quite confusing to some folks. So if you think in
Mhm.
terms of Medicaid is financial aid to help cover medical expenses for those who are disabled or financially destitute. And Medicare is insurance for those individuals who have reached a certain age or have been deemed disabled through the Medicare and CMS. So think of aid as financial assistance for healthcare services, and care is your basic insurance for healthcare services. So Medicaid covers a skilled nursing facility, but there are components of a skilled nursing facility that are also covered under Medicare, and those are limited services. And then there's your Medicare Advantage plans and your HMO plans, and those will then pay those communities that are in network with the insurance company. So it works very similar to Medicare, but there's an in-network, out-of-network cost in regards to that. Also, long-term care insurance. Long-term care insurance can pay for not only a skilled nursing facility, but your assisted living communities too. And when you're talking to assisted living communities, you're going to want to ask if they're a licensed residential or if they're a non-licensed, because there's different things that can be offered in each type of setting. And then also the VA aid and attendance is available for assisted living, and then private pay typically for assisted living. And there are some assisted living communities that take the Medicaid waiver program for room and board and level of care services. So just make sure, I just want consumers to know that when they're in talking to the sales representative, that they're really asking the right questions in terms of what types of payments do you accept here in your community. And then that sales representative can talk them through each payment model a little more in depth than what I'm providing. And I just wanted to scratch the surface and let folks know that there's a lot of different options available out there to cover the cost of healthcare services and independent and assisted living services as well.
Hey, Jim, can I say
The
something?
one thing that we saw in healthcare is, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's okay. I just wanted to chime in
ahead.
really quick. When she's talking about the aid and attendance
No,
benefit,
go ahead.
it does cover independent living as well. I currently have 3 residents that live here on the aid and attendance benefit. So they're looking at independent living as well, to side that out there.
It's a great veteran program that a lot of people are not aware of. So
I'm working with my dad right now on that. He's a World War II vet. Him and my mom, I'm trying to get them settled soon. So I'll be visiting some people here soon. They're 86 and 94 at home. They still drive. My dad got his license renewed at 90, scared me half to death, but they said he was good. But he drives. He haven't had it. I thought when I took him in there to get his license renewed, they was going to take him, and they gave him back to him and told him, they say he drive better than some young folks. So, so they can still be independent. But what I wanted to come back to as far as, with the Medicare and Medicaid, right now it's open enrollment time until December 10th, I believe. And we have seen this over and over again this year, where the residents or the clients have gotten a phone call from someone that may have said, "Hi, Mr. So-and-so, how are you doing today?" Or they'll say, "Hi, good morning. Is this so-and-so?" And they, yes, and then they hang up, and then it's changed. And they said, "Well, I never changed it." And so they got them saying, "Yes, this is so-and-so, and yes, I am talking to that person." And they took that information, and that's fraud. But a lot of our seniors don't know that. So that's the part that I do with educate the community about that, is between September 1 and December 7. Make sure, if you don't recognize the number, let it go to the voicemail. Because we had people came in just currently that had a Medicare card, but had a United Healthcare plan, or had a Medicare card and had an Anthem Advantage plan. So their plans are changing, and they're not, we tell the family members to watch the mail and try to see what's going on, because they can be Medicare in 2020 and 2021 to have an Advantage plan. Not that that's a bad thing, but they still thinking that their Medicare card, the red, white, and blue card, is still good. And sometimes they wind up with some huge out of pockets because they didn't realize that they had that. So we try to check that before they get in. We have a team that takes care of that. Our customer care line takes care of that for them. But that's one thing that we've seen that's happened a lot in this past year, that their insurances have been changed somehow to an Advantage plan versus their traditional Medicare with the secondary.
I was going to say one thing, talking about all the with how to pay for this with the VA aid attendance, the Medicaid waiver programs. On December 10th, we're doing this panel, and Rebecca Geyer, she's an elder law attorney, Matt Albing, Wesley Young with Senior Solutions Consulting, Jeff Stinson with Stinson Law Firm, and Ron Wright with Wright and Associate. We're going to be spending an hour on this topic. So if you've been sitting here listening to this going, what are they talking about? We're going to go into a lot more.
A little bit deeper, yeah.
Just thought we'd give you a teaser.
You'll be well educated when you get there. They'll be like, "How did he find that out from that group of people he talked to this week?"
Yeah, we try to bring information forward. So, well, Jessica, you've been kind of dark on me. I didn't see there. So why don't you kind of bring us up to speed what you guys are doing over there? So kind of give us a little bit of background on that community and what you're doing and what's the scope of things. So.
Right. Well, and actually to kind of touch base on this payer source thing, this last couple of months, we have surprisingly, you run into people have exhausted their Medicare days or exhausted all their insurance. So we've been running into a lot of Medicaid pending. So we do a lot of Medicaid pending here, and what that is so say they exhaust their Medicare days and it's just not ready to start over, and they just say like they need long-term care. We can do a Medicaid pending screen here. In my business office, what we do with that is we reach out and we ask a few questions, and if we meet criteria, we can bring them in under what we call Medicaid pending. So that way we have been relieving a lot of family members of stress of how they're going to pay for things with Medicare being exhausted. So we have been working a lot with that. And lately, we have been kind of crazy with the respiratory business. I know everyone's been out with COVID. Everyone's well aware of what's going on with COVID these days. So the respiratory wing has been a big ordeal, especially for this building. We've been doing a lot of vent weaning. So say if a lot of COVID comes in place, they go in a high need of oxygen. We have been skilling them off the oxygen and sending them back either to their independent living or their skilled home or whatever, assisted living. So that has been our main focus this last few months, has been the respiratory weaning to send them back to their assisted livings, to their independent livings, or to home.
Excellent. Mark, I want to pick on you for a second. You're off my screen, but I know you're there somewhere. I think everyone on here, maybe other than Sean, has memory care in their world, okay, is what they're dealing with it. But I was going to say, Mark, you've got kind of a unique model. You're 100% that's it. So could you kind of explain how that, because that's fairly new in the marketplace, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a newer model or a different concept. I mean, it's at least to this area where it's an entire building dedicated to dementia care. Where the others here on the panel have the different types of care. Carol has the CCRC where she has everything. And it's, so we just do memory care. So we're able to dedicate the entire building to that type of care, which gives us a lot of space for our residents to really, one of the things that residents with dementia do is they tend to wander. Some of them tend to want to explore their environment. They can do that safely, and we have a very large space. We have a great big open courtyard. So it's definitely a different concept than being attached to a skilled nursing wing or an assisted living community. So it's different. And there's a couple others that are kind of coming onto the market that offer this type of setup. So it's something new.
Yeah, in your place, you can kind of more or less just go on a big square. Is that
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, Vicki, I'll let you weigh in on this. You're kind of big time into that world.
Memory
So
care expert.
I live the Alzheimer's world. It's interesting. I was at a conference once, and it was for individuals who were just coming to learn more about what's available, similar to what you're doing, but in person. And one of the ladies in the audience raised her hand and she says, "I'm sorry, I keep hearing you guys talk about memory care, but I have no idea what it is." And I think that just was very eye-opening because we do use a lot of terminology that we just assume that the average layperson would understand. So memory care is living environments that are designed specifically for those individuals who have Alzheimer's and like forms of dementia. And the benefit behind memory care is it's very program focused. So there's a lot of activity programming that should be happening in these communities throughout the day. Ideally, you would want something that would mimic your natural energy patterns or your circadian rhythms. So think about the times when we rise in the morning, we have a lot more energy, and then usually around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're ready to take a nap, right? And we always blame it on the carbs that we had for lunch. But really, that's just your natural energy pattern. That's why in our Central and South American countries, they have that siesta in the afternoon after lunch. That's why in your European countries, your lunches are much longer because it gives you an opportunity to rejuvenate and bring some energy back. So your programming is designed really to focus on that energy pattern to allow folks to stay engaged throughout the day in meaningful activities that will allow them then to have a more restful evening. There's a lot more intervention, or I should say innovation, that takes place in a memory care setting to reduce any need for antipsychotic medications. The whole idea is to be more person-centric and find ways that you can help ease somebody's anxiety, or if there's a moment of upset, how do you redirect that without giving them a shot or giving them a pill? So there's a lot of innovations that are in place, like weighted blankets and aromatherapy and reminiscent opportunities. And all of our communities that have memory care here do offer that type of environment. One thing very unique about our organization, American Senior Communities, also sees the need that not all individuals are best suited living in a co-ed environment. So we have designed some specific memory care neighborhoods that we have just all men. We have one building that is all men. We have other communities that have all female memory care neighborhoods. And that's really so that those individuals who have had traumatic past that maybe somebody of the opposite sex might trigger some emotional upset for them, maybe it's better suited for them to be in a gender specific living environment where things are more focused specifically to that gender, and we're able to really hone in on what's the best living situation for them. A lot of inhibitions change with this disease process. So how can we help to manage that and make sure that everybody is staying safe throughout the process as well? So just, from a consumer standpoint, figure out what's important to you and ask the right questions when you're talking to sales representatives, and hopefully they'll be able to guide you in the right direction. One thing I love about this panel, Jim, is that even though there is overlap in what we do, we all work very well together.
Mhm.
We know that, you know, Mark's building may not be the best fit for somebody that needs to go to Patrice's building, vice versa. And so we take a lot of time to really understand what each of us offer so that we can be a resource to that consumer and point them in the right direction if we're not able to meet the needs of the client that's coming toward us.
That's so true, Vicki, is especially, you know, all of the providers here in the area, we all offer a little bit of, everyone except for one or two has memory care, but that, like you said, my building may not be the best fit for somebody, and that's okay. Because ultimately it's the consumer's decision, and it's what's best it's not what's best for me, it's what's best for the resident and best for that family. And if I'm not, then we have these great resources that I can pick up the phone and I can call Carol, or I can call Patrice, I can call Allison and say, hey, I have a family that wants to, explore your options. And we all, and then it's a, as an advice to consumers is we all work so well together because we're all in this to help the families. And so we're very blessed to have so many options in the Indianapolis area. And we're also very blessed that we all